Show has time. Looks for Deutsch. Deutsch at the one into the end zone.
Comes on to serve. Dug out by Bishop. This to the middle and slamming one home.
And free ball to the crossover. Eilertson will get the pass for Holly. Set up left side. Rusted down with the kill. He'll play action now. Look to pass over the middle. It's intercepted by Cole Hebel. Intercepted by Hebel, and he brings it back. Set it up, Fosston left side. Big kill blocked at the net. Kept alive by the Greyhounds.
Fetting's got room, and here's Bo Fetting. Fetting's still on his feet. Fetting's gone. Bo.
The Your Live Event Coaches Show is presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Lancello, and welcome to another edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. We'll talk some high school wrestling. We'll hear from Fosston Bagley's boys coach as they get ready for the Minnesota State Wrestling Tournament this week. We'll also have some girls wrestling from Central Cass. We'll talk with Anna White and Catie Sinner, who won championships in their respective weight divisions in the North Dakota State meet. We'll also talk with Travis Lemar, the coach of the Central Cass girls wrestlers, who finished second in the team competition at the state meet. We'll also talk Minnesota girls basketball. Zach Kakela is the coach of Park Christian as the Falcons getting ready for state playoff competition this week, getting started in Minnesota. We'll start, though, with North Dakota girls high school basketball. The state tournament is getting underway in Minot on Thursday and runs through Saturday. Chase Miller had a chance to talk with Central Cass coach Jay Bachman. Before that, I had a chance to talk with Jason Brend, the coach of the Thompson Tommies girls basketball team, going to state as the #1 seed. Back on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. The Thompson Tommies girls going to the state Class B tournament. Jason Brend, the coach of the Tommies, joins us now. Congratulations on getting to the state, and also you're the #1 seed in the tournament too.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joe. The kids are pretty excited. Actually, the whole community is excited here. The kids set this goal at the beginning of the year. They really did, and they wanted to get back to the state tournament. And to say it is one thing, but to go out there and do everything in your power to achieve it is another. And I think that's what our kids have done this year.
And getting to the championship game and against a very tough Grafton team, and that was a really good game, but it seemed like you guys were able to have control, and so many different people contributing to the win.
Yeah, Grafton wasn't tough. They're a tough matchup for us. They have those tall girls that cause a lot of fits. They're an inside-out team, so they like to establish the paint play first, and we knew that, and we thought that if we could try take that away and force them to work the opposite and hit some shots on the perimeter early on, and then try to establish that post, it might be a better situation for us defensively. And I thought that our post did a really good job. We sat on their low shoulders all night long, forcing them to turn to the middle, and I don't feel like they're maybe quite as comfortable going that way. And we were able to get some good digs with our guards inside. And although their perimeter players did hit a few shots on us, I think for the most part we were able to close out and at least get a hand up in their faces a little bit and make them a little bit more uncomfortable than they like to be.
You mentioned the post players. I'm looking at the score sheet here. Addison Frederickson did not have a field goal. Kira Cole didn't score until the fourth quarter. And Savannah Blackcloud, I think, had one basket in the second quarter and a couple of free throws late. But so you did what you set out to do.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Brendan Martin, Clara Stevens did a fantastic job of executing our game plan, and Jordan Tozer as well. As I mentioned, we want to be physical with them. They're a strong team, and anytime you have strong post play, you got to be physical with those teams. Otherwise, they'll bully around all night long. And I thought that we set the tone pretty early. We were able to get an offensive call fairly early as well, which probably helped us and got in their heads a little bit as well. But for the most part, those girls that I mentioned did a great job inside, holding their post to a very limited number of points that night.
And Addison Sage, once again, coming off the bench, a couple of threes and some free throws in the game as well for a total of 15 that led you.
Yeah, she does that. I mean, Addison's just a basketball player, and she really knows how to score. And really thought that she did a really great job for us. She maybe carried us a little bit on the offensive side that night because Grafton's a really good defensive team. They really are. And we weren't hitting shots, and we weren't finding a lot of great shots, to be honest with you. And Addison got in there, and that just brings another element to the game. We got a lot of girls who can shoot. We got a lot of girls who can attack, but Addie's got that ability to not only attack and shoot, but create for other people as well, and just kind of get into the heart of the defense and pop that bubble in a sense and find the basket and create some opportunities for not only herself, but others.
Now you go to the state tournament as the number 1 seed, and you'll take on Edgeley Combe Montpelier in the first game, and that will be at 6:30 on Thursday night. Weather permitting, I'm hearing there could be some problems up there, but we'll have to wait on that. What kind of things have you heard or been able to find out about Edgeley Combe Montpelier?
Well, yeah, we've got some film on them. We've been watching film since actually the night that we found out that's who would be playing. Very athletic team. They've got good length overall. Forgive me for not remembering all the names. I kind of know them by number right now from watching film, but I know there's NZ Girl and Mattern Girl. They're kind of the two horses, if you want to call them that do a lot of their scoring. They both sit around that 5'9", 5'10", kind of in that area, which is good length, and they're athletic. They early on in the season and it looked like they were getting a lot of points from the paint and working around the edges of the paint. And as that season has gone on, they've actually stretched their game a little bit. And when I say that, I should say that's the Mattern Girl, because NC spent some time injured this year. And as she's come back, that's certainly made them a better basketball team. But, anytime you have kids with good length that are athletic and have the ability to score in multiple ways, it's a tough way to defend them. And, they also have a post that starts the game that, she's maybe only 5'8", 5'9", but she's a solid player, and she's got good post moves with the back of the basket. So we're going to have to be aware of her as well. And, a point guard that handles the pressure well. She hasn't put up a lot of points in the games we've watched, but just being able to facilitate the ball the way she has definitely makes that team go.
And the Tommies have so many young players, but they don't play like young players. And the cliche is that someone who begins the year as a freshman isn't a freshman by the time the season is over, that sort of thing. But I don't think I've ever seen your team play nervous.
Yeah, well, they maybe handle it better than I do sometimes on the floor, but that is certainly one thing that I'm very proud of this team for. When you take a look at a lot of teams around, they've had kind of a class, of 4, 5, 6, up to 8 kids that have been playing together forever. And, with us having 2 seniors, 2 juniors, 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen, you see what I'm getting at. We have more than that freshmen, but I mean, we're kind of a hodgepodge of classes, and we don't have those 8, 6, 5, whatever years that we've been playing together. So we've had to gel a little bit sooner than the other teams in order to have the success we have. And I think a lot of that has to come, or give a lot of that credit, to our seniors. They've allowed these freshmen and sophomores and everybody else that's getting in there the ability to be equals. They've allowed them to come in there, and they've given up some of their minutes on the floor. They've passed up some of their good-looking shots and passed them off for better shots, And, the fact that they're willing to, accept these kids, that's helped with the gelling process. And as you mentioned, as the season goes on, the more and more reps you get, the more and more experience you get in games, the more confidence you build and build that confidence together instead of just individually. That's when the team really starts to come together. And I think with confidence, a lot of those nerves kind of disappear a little bit.
So you're the number 1 seed, Central Cass the number 2 seed. Very possible you two could meet for the championship on Saturday.
Well, the possibility's out there. We're going to just take it one game at a time right now because, as I mentioned, we think the team we're playing is very athletic and very capable. And, now that they're completely healthy, I think they're a different team than they were earlier in the year. But, the seeds, they're great. I mean, you want to get the high seeds. I mean, we play the entire season to get a good seed in the regional tournament. Now we come out of the regional tournament and fortunate enough to get that top seed going in the state tournament. And it's just a number right now. But what it did is allowed us to go into a bracket that we feel fairly comfortable with. Does that mean that we're going to walk through it or even win the first one? No, there's no guarantees of that. But, it's an opportunity for us to, maybe put one foot ahead of the other and just keep moving through the tournament, hopefully continuing to play as best we can. And, one nice thing too, when you get to a state tournament is I'm sure they're getting good scouting reports on us, just like we are them. But in our region, everybody knows you. They know what you like to do. They continually work on trying to find ways to shut down what you do best. So we'll see if maybe some of those areas that teams in our region have taken away from us, maybe those doors have been opened up again a little bit and allow us to play a little bit more of a style that we like to play.
And it's interesting how the bracket works out, because it's possible you could play Kenmare Bow Bells in the next round on Friday, and you played them very early in the year.
Yeah, we've kind of considered that game, or we've kind of compared that game a little bit to the first Rocky movie when Rocky and Apollo, but neither of them could barely stand up at the end of the game because our end of their fight, because they were so tired. And that was kind of the situation both our teams were in at the time, because a week prior, our kids were both playing in the state volleyball tournament.
Oh.
So, so we didn't have a lot of conditioning at that time and everybody's tired, but I'll be honest with you. If we can win that first game, and if Kenmare wins that first game as well, it's certainly a carrot that we're going to dangle in front of the kids, because you remember the teams that beat you, and even that night, and after we played them and got beat by them, we talked about how it'd be great to have another opportunity to play them.
And then on the other half of the bracket, I mentioned Central Cass, but rugby is in there as well. Again, teams you've played already and beaten.
Yeah, I feel like rugby's a really good team too, very solid. Just like Kenmare and Central Cass, they're all really good teams. Actually, for that matter, the fact that they're in the state tournament is proof of that. But we have played a lot of, or at least a handful of these teams already, and we've had some success against them. About mid-season, we went through a nice stretch where we played a lot of tough opponents, and we kind of got rolling. We really got things on track the right way, and I feel like maybe at one point then when we came out of all those games, we dipped a little bit in our style of play, and we started forming some bad habits. We maybe thought that we were a little more invincible than we were, but we were it's not often I'm going to say this, but we were probably fortunate that Mayport come and kind of kicked our butts around that game and beat us during the February game there, because it allowed us to refocus. It allowed us to kind of fall back and go back to work on our fundamentals and understand that if you don't bring your A game, there's a lot of teams out there that can beat you. And I think after that happened, we've kind of grown. Not necessarily we're not putting up 80 points a game and growing that way, but I think just our decision making right now has come a long ways. Early in the year we really depended a lot on the perimeter shooting, and now we're working the ball into the paint, and we have kind of a good balance between the inside and outside.
Wake-up calls can be good, and also better that if there was going to be a loss, better that it was early in February instead of last week in Grand Forks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It came at a nice time for us, because not only did they beat us in early February, which you start thinking a little bit about tournaments maybe at that point, but you also think coming out of January, you're in a pretty good place. So it also allowed us to play a couple games after that, so we could get our feet back wet. We were happy. That was a Thursday night game, and we were able to play that next Saturday. So it's always good to get back on the horse after a defeat. And, I thought the kids really did a nice job of responding. I really do. They understood the situation. They understood that, yeah, we got beat by a really good Mayport team, and they were a really good team. And, it allowed us to start putting things back to where they needed to be and clean up our game and tighten the screws, as they say, and get to be better.
We'll be following the Thompson Tommies on YourLiveEvent.com. Audio only coverage from the state Class B tournament. Thompson's game against Edgeley Montpelier at 6:30. Jason Brend, we'll see you up there. Thanks very much for the time today, and best of luck to you and your team at state.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show after this.
Hillsborough Economic Development Committee provides information and a support for small businesses. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Joining us from the Central Cass Squirrels, that is their head coach here in Jay Bachman on our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. And Jay's in a bus and probably has been his own home for the last 24 plus hours. Jay, Mother Nature again, Region 1, you had to kind of deal with it a little bit in terms of practices and when you were going to play games or not. You had to leave Castleton early to get up to the Magic City. So just kind of take us through the last 24 hours or so and what's it kind of been like for the team, and how's everybody kind of doing as you get ready for tomorrow afternoon's game?
It's been a whirlwind. We'll say that. Yesterday morning about 10:30, our administration made the call. All right, we're going tonight. We'll get you hotels in Devil's Lake. We'll get you up there. We'll practice at Devil's Lake High School. And then we'll get up there. And it was a good thing we did because Castleton has got about, 16 to 18 inches of snow. And we left yesterday about 4:30 and we didn't see one snowflake the whole way. And then back home, we're getting messages, no school today, snow everywhere. And it's crazy. It's really happy that we came a day early. We've had to spend a little extra time on the bus because our hotel rooms weren't ready. And then, practiced Devil's Lake last night. And then this morning we went and practiced at our Redeemers in Minot here. So it's just kind of been, up and down, and the girls have been great. The girls have been super flexible and, ready. And just, we've had 2 good practices, which has been awesome to see because, having a different practice plan and practice times is just crazy, but the girls have been really good. Our administration, our principal and our AD have been, getting to places before us or getting to places right after us, helping us check in and feed us. And it's just been really good. And it was a crazy 12 hours, that's for sure. It's kind of slowing down now. We'll hopefully get a check into our hotel here in the next hour or 2. So it's slowing down. We're getting back on schedule now. So it's going good.
Let's talk about the Minot State Dome. They did the renovation a couple of years ago, kind of during that COVID year. They were able to host state. You played there before, made it to a championship game before with a lot of players that were underclassmen at the time that are now seniors here, Jay. So how much, if any, does having familiarity once you get to a state tournament, whether it's been at the Betty or now the Minot State Dome, help whether you're a seed or you're not a seed kind of going into the state tournament here, Jay?
I think it helps a ton. I think it just, takes some of your nerves and hopefully relax them a little bit. You're still excited, you're still nervous, it's still a new court, but I think it just really maybe takes the edge off a little bit. The girls have played here before. All 7 of my seniors were on the team, on the varsity team 2 years ago. So they've been here before, 4 of the girls played a ton in the 3 games we played here. So, that really helps. It helps with the TV cameras. It helps with the media timeouts. It just makes everything a little bit like you're more used to it, right? Not necessarily so green. Not, it really just kind of hopefully takes the edge off. Not gonna lie, the girls are still excited, right? They're still nervous, but I think it might just, maybe give us that edge in the first, maybe second round too.
Let's talk about your opponent here in Bowman County. You're from the East, they're from the West. This is what state tournaments are all about, bringing people together. And kind of take a look at the schedules here, Jay. There's really not a lot of common opponents. There's not someone that, Bowman County played in a holiday tournament from the East, or you went out to the West and played someone, vice versa. So how much from a coach's standpoint is it challenging to find film or get film, or is it kind of refreshing after going through Region 1 tournament where everybody knows everyone's secrets? They get to play someone a little bit new. What's kind of both sides of the aisle here, Jay?
I just, not having a single common opponent has probably been the toughest for me. Just because it's nice to be able to compare a little bit, to say, oh, this is how they played this or did this. So that is the one thing that, I'd say given to my coaching staff and me the most challenge is not having a single common opponent. But in the same time, they're in the same boat we are, right? They are thinking the same thing we are. Not having that, familiarity, I think it is maybe an advantage for us. Just because we do have some more experience than they probably do going in. Now, they're a really good team. We've gotten some film from them or from some other teams on them. I think I've watched 3 games of theirs. They do a lot of stuff really good. So I think it's going to be a game. I mean, they were ranked most of the season. They only have 2 losses, so they're a good squad. We're going to have to bring our A game to beat them.
And Jay, I always ask you this, but I'm going to ask you it again now in a state tournament setting. When we were at the Region 1 championship, I said, what do you have to do well against Northern Cass? And you said, play defense. And we saw that, particularly from top to bottom. Everybody on your team came out and made defensive effort. Is that the same for 3 days in 3 games for you guys to try to get to where you want to go? What is the one thing that Central Cass, again, must do to make a deep run here in this state tournament?
100%. We got to play defense, right? We got to play defense. We got to limit their best players. Now, with all the film and all the things that you have today, you've seen them, so we know who their shooters are. We know who's going to be their scorers. So if we can limit them, limit them defensively and just take stuff away, that's the key. If we can play defense like we have 2/3 of the season, we're going to be fine. But we got to do it, right? You got to do it on a big stage. You got to do it from the bright lights. So it should be fun. I mean, the girls have bought in, like they're ready to go. We had really, really good practice this morning. Walked through everything you can think of. And defensively, we're ready to go, right? The best thing about defense is it's about effort, in my opinion, right? Knowing your assignment and then effort. And our effort's through the charts. So as long as we have the effort, as long as we do what we can do best, we're going to be just fine.
Take a good look at Hillsboro. It's conveniently located between Fargo and Grand Forks. Hillsboro is a growing community with solid local schools with high graduation rates. There's an industrial park ready to host a new business. And there's Woodland Park with activities all year round. The Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation asks you to take a good look at Hillsboro when you're thinking about a place to put down roots and grow. For more information, contact the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation at growhillsboroND.com.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada invites you to order your new Buick and Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazers, Traverse, and Enclave, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet and Buick dealer, providing sales and a service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch, Smurf, or Jay. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada, 218-784-2000.
This is Chris from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. Many factors impact your ability to increase profits on the farm. Make sure your planter is an asset and not a liability. Some limiting factors in making the perfect planter pass are row maintenance, meter calibration, and downforce management. It will not cost you anything to have the conversation about identifying those limiting factors. Call RDK Enterprises 701-636-2119 or planterdoc.com.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. Minnesota's girls basketball playoffs getting underway this week, and in Class 6A, Park Christian is competing there. I had a chance to talk with their coach, Zach Kakela, about the Falcons and their playoff hopes. Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. Minnesota girls basketball playoffs getting underway. Zach Kakela is the coach of the Park Christian Falcons, and congratulations to the Falcons for winning the Pine to Prairie Conference South title and also the conference championship game where you beat Fertile Beltrami a little over a week ago.
Yeah, thank you for that. The girls played really well that day there, but a really good game on both ends, kind of back and forth throughout the course of the game there. But we were able to make a few plays down the stretch and came out of that one with the conference championship. So really proud of the girls and the team.
Sounds like a good warm-up for the playoffs.
Yeah, it really was, just the atmosphere and kind of the nerves and some of that stuff that comes along with the games. I thought it was good for the girls to be able to have the opportunity to kind of work through that a little bit and kind of feel what that's going to be like here for the upcoming postseason tournament that starts this week.
And unfortunately, that was the last time your girls played. You wound up having last week off, no games at all. Not your fault. It was Mother Nature's fault.
Yeah, it just kind of happened that way. We were supposed to play 3 games next week, and it isn't an ideal time of year to get that big of a break, actually, but it's kind of the way the chips have fallen, so we're getting ourselves ready to play this Thursday night here against New York Mills at New York Mills in the postseason. So that's what we've shifted our focus to. Sometimes you just can't, do anything about the way the schedule works out or way the weather goes here in Minnesota. So we just kind of deal with that. We were pretty fortunate throughout the course of the season, but really got in the way here that last week and caused some cancellations for our games. But we just shifted our focus and just started to get ready here for New York Mills.
Yeah, the thing with that too is you probably lost practice time as well.
We were able to sneak in a few, but yeah, there were a couple of days where we weren't able to practice as well. And you're absolutely right. Kind of You know, if we're missing games, we definitely like to at least get together, get back into the gym, and keep that progress moving forward the best we can. But just an unfortunate situation. And like every other team in the state, though, too, or anybody else who was caught in that weather, I know there was a lot of cancellations. A few teams were able to make them up Friday there, but just not a big window to get games in after, you know, with the tournament as close as it was.
Tell me about your team and how your season's been going. Who've been some of the people that have been standing out for you?
You know, the whole team has really been doing well this year. You know, we do have some younger players on the roster that have contributed. You know, we got 4 freshmen, Annika Johnson and Libby Sukert, both start for us and have done a tremendous job this year. You know, play valuable minutes, play big minutes for us, doing good things on both ends of the floor. And then even Haley and Annika Free, they just come off there, our other 2 freshmen, they come off the bench there and they contribute. They're strong with the basketball. They understand what we're trying to do, X's and O's wise, and they really play an instrumental part of getting the kids breaks or getting everybody the time off the floor they need as well. So once they hit it, they got the energy they need to play at 100%. So we got those freshmen helping out. Our sophomore class is small. We got Casey and Dreesen, but man, she really does a lot for us on the inside and kind of anchors our defense, honestly, with the way she communicates, her understanding of what we're trying to do, and then the way she pushes and communicates with her other teammates to help them out. And then, you know, our 5 juniors have been very valuable to us. Avery Ockery kind of runs the point guard position there for us, runs the team. Ellie Rogness has come off the bench there, really shot the ball well for us this year at times from the 3-point line, and you know, made the other team give them something to think about, stretch the floor, space the floor better for us. And then Bailey, Rebecca, and Elika Johnson they come off the bench as well. And even if they're coming in just for those spot minutes, when they go in, they really play hard. They really get after it. Like I said, they understand what we're doing, and it helps so much when you're able to have a whole group that's able to kind of buy in, understand what you're doing, and play as hard as they do. And then, of course, our 2 seniors, Belle and Andy, are invaluable to us. Been such a huge part of getting us back to where we are here in the conference and kind of competing again with some of these teams and things like that. And those 2 seniors have kind of been through the whole ride with us. You know, a few years ago, we were conference champs and we kind of dipped down to the bottom of the conference. And now they were here to kind of lead the charge back to the top. So the whole team has really done such a fabulous job this year, sticking together, playing together. And that's really what we try to push at Park. We're really a family, trying to do the best we can as a team and as a group, and just play to your strengths. You know, not everybody can do everything. We understand that, but everybody can affect a basketball game one way or the other if you target what you're good at and your abilities. So just a great group effort and team effort all around.
I did see your team once against Lake Park Audubon back in late January, and Andy Sandman, I think, was the top scorer on that day. She had 15 off the bench. And like you say, just a real team effort on that particular night.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and she's come off the bench all year, and there's been a few games where she's been our top scorer. I mean, her aggressive defense can really catch teams off guard, and if they aren't prepared for that, she's really able to turn that aggressive defense into offense for herself and get out into transition, get out and get some of those layups, get to the free throw line and things like that. And that's one of those perfect examples of somebody who's come off the bench, understood her role, plays to her strengths really well, and just is a fabulous contribution to our team as a whole.
Now you take on New York Mills on Thursday in the first round of the 6A, correct?
Yep, 6A there, yep.
We're in that area where there's a lot of 8s and a few 6s, just got to make sure who's where. Have you faced New York Mills before this year?
Yeah, we actually played them the second game of the season. So back on December 1st, they came to Park, and they're just a really good team all around. You know, they execute really well, really physical. You know, we got to keep them off the offensive rebounds. They really post up strong. They do the simple things really well, and that leads to a lot of good basketball sometimes. I think sometimes people get it confused that it has to be, you know, super hard or the X's and O's have to be super difficult. But if you do the simple things well out there, you'll be able to be successful on the basketball floor. And, you know, they do high-low actions really well in the post. They kick that basketball out. You know, their guards are shot ready in those situations. So there's going to be a lot to account for them. But I think with the days of preparation we have, We were able to see them once earlier this year, kind of helps us a little bit. So hopefully we can get the girls up to speed, get them confident, and get our game plan put in so we're ready to go Thursday night there.
What you had said reminded me of something George Carl told one of his teams. Make the game easy.
Yeah, sometimes it is that. Sometimes I tell the girls, it doesn't have to be difficult at times. If you execute, we kind of got a saying around there, execute with excellence, right? Even if you're doing the smallest of things, try to do it correctly, whether it's a pick and roll, screen, boxing out, just all those little things. If you start to do those things really well, you find yourself in some advantageous positions to make basketball plays. And that's kind of what we push around there. And the girls are starting to get an understanding of that and do those things well. And we're starting to see those things translate onto the basketball floor, and has played a big part of why we've been able to be successful this year and win some of the games that we have.
If you went on Thursday, you would play at Purim on Saturday afternoon, not against Purim, because I think they're in Double A, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Who would be possible opponents there?
It looks like it would be Underwood, who would be an extremely tough matchup. I mean, everybody knows they play really good basketball on both ends of the floor, and they got inside, outside, defensive pressure, rebounding. They got a little bit of everything there. So ultimately, the rest of the season here going forward, we're going to have our hands full with whoever we meet. So we're just going to go in, play as hard as we can, have some fun, do the things we've done all year as a team, try to be competitive, and see where the chips fall at the end of the game.
All right, 6A girls basketball playoffs starting this week. Zach Kakela, the coach of Park Christian, thanks very much, and best of luck to the Falcons.
Thank you. We appreciate all you do for high school sports. So have a great rest of the year.
Okay, you too. And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show right after this.
When we think March, we think crop insurance. Hi, this is Bethany Rentz, crop insurance agent with IRE Insurance. We will be hosting a March farmer meeting to discuss the 2023 outlook, which will include examples using set spring MPCI prices and share strategies that are geared towards protecting your revenue and preserving your equity. Let us at IRE Insurance be your crop insurance partner. Join us for our meeting in Hillsborough on Thursday, March 2nd at 8 a.m. For location details, please visit our website at ireins.com.
You're protected and appreciated at IRE.
IRE Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a local golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities, there hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Buying a new home, but worried about the interest rate and terms from your bank? At First Class Mortgage, we'll find a mortgage that fits your needs. Shopping national banks and other lenders for the lowest rate and most affordable terms. Saving you time and money. So all you need to worry about is enjoying your new home. First Class Mortgage. Our expertise, your peace of mind. Put an expert to work for you. Call today.
Now we'll switch things over to wrestling on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Mac Robinson had a chance to speak with the Bagley Fosston wrestling coach about their season, and they've got 3 wrestlers going to the Minnesota State meet, which is going on this weekend. But first, an interview we hoped to bring you last week, but we're not able to get everybody together. We'll check with Central Cass girls wrestling coach Travis Lemar after the Squirrels finished second in the team competition. And we'll also talk with Central Cass wrestlers Anna White, the champion at 100 pounds, and Catie Sinner, the champion at 250. Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Central Cass's girls had a great state wrestling meet, finishing second in the duels. And Anna White, who's here right now, was the 100-pound champion. Congratulations. I didn't hear you there.
Thank you.
Okay. There we go. Tell me about what it was like wrestling at the Fargo Dome.
It was a really cool experience. We got to hang out with the team. Seeing all the people in the stands was really great too, because there was a lot of people there. And it was really loud though. That's the one downside of it.
Yeah, the noise would carry in there much more than it would say in your average high school gym.
Yeah.
And was it intimidating because there were just so many mats there? Again, more than a usual meet.
Yeah. I think it was, but once I got in my zone, I didn't really worry about it.
You had 4 matches to win to get to the state championship. What was the most difficult match for you and why?
I think my finals match was the most difficult for me because it was against a friend that I've lost to twice this past year already. But yeah.
What happened this time around to give you a better outcome?
I think my mindset about it, I was mostly going out there just thinking I want to win this and I want to show that I want to win it.
Okay. What year in school are you?
I'm in 8th grade.
Oh, wow. Okay. How long have you been wrestling?
This is my 2nd year.
It seems like you've picked up on it pretty quick.
Yeah, I have.
What is it you like about wrestling so much?
I think the community a lot is really great. Like everybody around, especially our team, is just like a family. And I think that really helps me a lot.
Okay. I take it you're going to continue. Would you be going to camps and whatever over the summertime?
Yeah, that's my goal overall. Definitely.
Would you like to wrestle in college?
That would be a great opportunity that I think would be fun.
Long time away, of course, and other things can happen. So I'm not going to ask you what you want to be when you grow up. You may not have an answer for that yet. But what about your wrestling would you like to improve?
I think probably working with defensive people because I get stuck when the person I wrestle is very defensive.
And everybody's kind of waiting for somebody to do something, that sort of thing? Okay. Well, Anna, congratulations on what your team did at duels and what you yourself did as a 100-pound champion at girls wrestling. Thanks very much. And another member of the Central Cass wrestling team that won a state championship was Catie Sinner in the 250-pound division. Congratulations.
Yeah.
What was it like for you wrestling at the Fargo Dome?
Just like last year, it was cool to have that many people watching, especially this year because the girls' sport has grown, so there were even more people than last year.
How long have you been wrestling?
This is my 3rd year.
Okay. And what year in school are you?
A senior.
Okay. So kind of like Anna, you've picked it up pretty quick.
Yep.
What is it you like about wrestling so much?
Probably the team. They're just like a family and they make you want to be there.
Yeah, that's a unique thing about wrestling because there is that team because you're all trying to do the same thing. But on the other hand, it's all up to you individually, each of you in your divisions. Tell me about you won 4 matches to win the state championship. Which was the most difficult match for you and why?
I would say probably my finals match because I have never seen that girl and she was only eligible for the last few weeks. So then didn't get to see much of her. And I was nervous because I didn't know what she had and what she does. So that's probably why I thought that was my hardest match.
Okay. And you got that one through okay. What are your plans for the future? Would you be interested in wrestling in college?
I'm already playing softball in college, so I don't really want to do 2 sports out of my schedule.
Okay, where are you going to be going to school next year?
Bismarck State.
Okay. And playing softball there, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you're waiting for all the snow to melt so you can finally play softball. Okay. Well, Catie Sinner, once again, congratulations on winning the state championship at 250 and best of luck the rest of your senior year.
Thank you.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com coaches show after this. And we're joined now by Travis Lemar, the coach of the Central Cass Girls Wrestlers, 2 state champions, 7, I think, others who placed at state. And you were second in the dual competition. You have to be very pleased about what your girls accomplished.
Yeah, very. I mean, I think every team leaves that tournament wishing they had done better and wanting to have done more. Obviously we went in there with the goal to leave as champs. Came up a little short, but still super proud of the effort that my girls gave and what they were able to accomplish. Anytime you can find the podium, whether it's first or eighth, just getting on that podium is a huge deal. So super proud of every one of our girls.
It's interesting how Anna, I think, is in her 2nd year of wrestling and she's in 8th grade. So much more out there for her to possibly accomplish. And Katie's been wrestling for 3 years and she won a state title as well.
Yeah. Yeah. They really bookend our lineup. Every duel we start with Anna right away. And we know that she's going to be a hammer for us and probably get a 6. And when it comes down to the end, with Catie as our last one, and if the duel is close, we know that she's going to be able to put it away. Catie was able to win 3 state titles in her time here, and Anna's got 1 and a runner up already. So she's got a bright future. She works super hard at it. But she's had great role models, Catie and girls like Catie and Jordan Flynn, who was a senior for us this year, Shelby Sherman, Cassie Bartholomew were our 4 seniors. They were the 4 that really kind of got this thing started for us as our upperclassmen, and they've just been great role models in how they work on the mat, how they work off the mat, how they treat others. Just everything about them is just been perfect. I couldn't ask for 4 better kids to really be the start of our program, to really show everybody what it takes to be winners, not only on the mat, but off the mat.
If I remember right, you said you were still kind of recruiting people getting into the program. And I would imagine the recent success will also help in that aim, or people starting to think, hey, maybe this would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. They always say success breeds success. I think there's a little bit of truth there for sure. I think the way that it does it is you look at a girl that's very similar to you, or a boy that's very similar to you, and you see them have success in something, and it's like, what? If they can have success in that, I think I probably could too. And I think that's what we've probably seen the most of is, kids realizing like, hey, this isn't such a big, bad, scary sport. Like my best friend's doing this thing and having success with it. I could do that too. So I really think that's the big piece of it. And, we're going to pound the halls and get kids interested in wrestling and continue to recruit. And, it's just something that we never stop doing. Like, we want kids involved with things at Central Cass, whether it's wrestling, basketball, or whatever. We want them involved. We want them taking part and participating in any type of extracurricular or co-curricular or club that we can get them involved in here, because we believe in the lessons that they learn in those programs are going to help them in life.
And I think with wrestling, one thing that makes it less intimidating is that they are going against people their own size. It's not like, say, football can be.
Right. Yeah. It's, we tell everybody wrestling's a sport for everyone, because you can be 100 pounds, you can be 285 pounds, you can be 4'5", or you can be 6'6", and you're going to find success out there. You'll see kids that are very similar to you, every time you step on the mat. So yeah, it is. It's the one sport that is really, really open to everybody just because of sizes.
Well, I think as far as size goes at Central Cass, you're going to need a bigger trophy cabinet or two, I think, with all these successes you had. I think a total of 9 girls who medaled. Plus, Second place in the duels?
Yeah, no, it was great. You know, like we said, we came in, you know, I mean, I'm not going to lie. We thought we had a great chance to beat Bismarck and be state champs. But they got a great program, you know, and you know, second place, there are a lot of teams that would love to have the trophy that we have. And, you know, like at the end of the tournament, we met with our girls and our boys. And, you know, I just said, look, I know that we all kind of hope, you know, had higher hopes and stuff, but there are a ton of teams in the state of North Dakota right now that would love to be sitting in your shoes. So be proud of what you accomplished, but never be satisfied. Even if you're a state champ like Catie and Anna are, right? Like, don't be satisfied. Always strive for more. Always strive to be better, not only on the mat, but in life, you know, just continue working that direction, and good things are going to happen for you if you continue to do that kind of stuff.
All right, Travis Lemar, congratulations on a great wrestling season for the girls and the boys, and hopefully more of the same in the future for you.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for all your guys' coverage. It's been great, you know, having you guys out mat side and interviewing kids and, you know, doing coaches shows like this. So we really appreciate it, and we hope you keep on doing it. So thank you.
Okay, I could very well see you up in Minot later in the week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You know, everybody said, what are you going to do with your time off now that wrestling's over? I said, well, wrestling's over, but basketball is just really getting started. You know, we got region girls, and, you know, we were able to, you know, come out of there as region champs, and now we're getting ready for state girls. And then as soon as we're done with state girls, we're rolling right into region boys, and I'm hoping that we get to roll right into state boys too. So it could be a great winter for Central Cass Athletics. I mean, we won the 4 regions in wrestling, you know, both duels for boys and both individuals for girls. And we got a great chance to sweep the regions for basketball too. And that's just not something that really happens very often anywhere. So really enjoying the ride right now.
Okay. Travis Lemar from Central Cass. And we'll hopefully talk to you again soon. Take care.
Good. Thank you. Have a good one.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show after this.
Hillsborough Economic Development Committee provides information and a support for small businesses. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
And welcome back into the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. I'm Matt Robinson. Joining me now, Bagley Fosston wrestling coach Pat Wolfe. And, you know, Pat, pretty successful run for you guys this year. 3 guys going to state. You know, just as a whole for your season, just not even just the state run here up to this point. And what's it been like for you getting a chance to coach these guys throughout this year, and what's the season been like for them?
Well, it's been a good season for our kids. We you know, our goal going into the season was, you know, on the team part of it was to make the Final Four, which we were able to do. Host a first round match, which the top 4 teams in our section get to do. And we were able to do that, so we checked that off, and then, you know, made the Final Four run over in Fertile. Would have liked to have been maybe a little more competitive in our duel with United North Central, but it's the way she shakes out sometimes. And in that semifinal match, we had a real barn burner with them during the regular season, and it came down to just one match, and ended up getting beat. But we had some opportunities to even, you know, win, you know, a key match up there, and possibly even defeat them, which would have been pretty big for our program. But yeah, so we were, you know, we finished the regular season at 500. We're, you know, and we wrestle a AA and a single A schedule, so we see a lot of AA schools as well. And we were competitive with several of those schools too. I thought we were extremely competitive with Detroit Lakes, Thief River Falls, in our duel with them, and wrestled both of those teams very tough. So it was a good run that way. And then, you know, once the team part of it kind of wrapped up, then we got into the individual portion and punched 3 kids through to the XL Energy Center, so that was good.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Aiden Wolfe, Ian Frankenham, and Zach Thompson all moving on into states and individuals. And, you know, for your group as a whole, you know, a lot of times you talk about these different co-ops, everything like that, but, you know, for you, Bagley, Fosston coming in, how does it feel for you to have guys from both cities and both groups, you know, being able to come together and being able to move on to states?
Well, it's great. And, you know, one thing that myself and our coaching staff, I mean, we really don't view any kid whether they be, going to Bagley High School or Fosston High School, they're all a brawler. I mean, honestly, I have to think about which school they even go to sometimes. If I wasn't a teacher in our Fosston school district, I really probably wouldn't even know. I mean, they're kids, they work hard, you get to know them outside of just being a wrestler, and, we start to really care a lot about the kids, and you work with them, through our youth programs and on into our junior high and high school, which is always a very unique experience for wrestling coaches. It's a little bit different maybe than some other sports, that you inherit a kid in 9th grade or, as a varsity coach when they come in. Most of the high school coaches are working with the kids from the time they're in kindergarten. So you really get to know the kids, their families as athletes, but you also get to know them outside of athletes. I mean, become just friends with everybody. So it's kind of a unique experience that way. And it was no different with all three of these kids. We've known their families for many years, and very good kids and good families, and kids that just work hard and really take their wrestling quite seriously.
And then, just going through some of those guys, take us through, let's go one by one. So let's start with Ian Frankenham. How his season went. What have you seen from him, and what are your expectations when it comes to him going into state?
So Ian he's a freshman for us. He's had a very good season. He finished his year at 34-7. Ian on the mat is a very good leg rider, and that would be from the top position there. And he's able to turn a lot of kids, get near full points. Off of that, that's probably where he's at his best. Once he gets to that position, sometimes we have to work on creating those opportunities to be able to get those turns. So, as a freshman this year, he's, definitely looked very good on the mat. Ian was on the mat for us last year, but he was very undersized and grew into that true 106-pounder this year. Ian was weighing in that 90-pound range last year and was giving up 15, 16 pounds, every time he stepped out on the mat. You're at a real disadvantage when that happens. Off season, he grew closer to 110 pounds, 112 pounds, and cuts down or watches his weight a little bit there to make 106, and he has been a very dominant kid for us. So he's been an important piece for us. He's the first one out on the mat, kind of gets the ball rolling for us on the team part of it. Tournaments, the other kids will see Ian's out on the mat having a lot of success, and that just kind of gets things started for us a little bit. So he's had a great season for the Brawlers. He's going to be wrestling a kid from West Central area down at the state tournament in the opening round. They have identical records, and we have not wrestled Owen Gruco this year. And it should be a good matchup. I know Owen is a very aggressive kid on his feet. A little different than Ian's style. Ian likes to kind of slow things down a little bit on his feet and pick his moments there where he takes high percentage shots. So, I mean, it's kind of they have different styles on their feet. That's going to be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. But Ian will be up for the challenge. He's ready to go.
Okay, so Ian sets the tone, then take us through Zach Thompson.
Okay, so Zach is a sophomore for the Brawlers, 138 pounds, and Zach, he had a very good season last year. Comes in right now. He's currently at 38-7 for the Brawlers. He was a section champ on Saturday, and Zach's a very confident wrestler. He is at his best on his feet. Scores a lot of takedowns. He's very aggressive on his feet. Has gotten a lot better in the top position as well. His riding has been very good this season. Last year, I thought Zach was very good at getting away on the bottom. He could score a lot of points that way, get to his feet, where he was confident on his feet. But I think this year at different times he's really shown a little different level on his feet, and his defense has improved quite a bit too. So that's been fun to see Zach's progress as a wrestler. He takes his wrestling very seriously, works extremely hard in the off season, does a lot of wrestling in the off season, and it's definitely paying off for him.
And then, last but not least, of course, interesting situation for you, Aiden Wolfe, your son.
Yep. He's
going to be going on to state. What's it been like, not just this year, but also being able to watch his journey, obviously as his father, but also being able to coach him as well?
It's an interesting perspective, and there's a few of us in our area and in our section that have kids that have had successful careers and been able to compete at the state level. And there are coaches that'll say they really don't enjoy coaching their kids.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. To me, it has been one of the most rewarding things that I have done. And it's not just Aiden. My son Alex wrestled for the Brawlers. My daughter Ashton was part of our Brawler wrestling program as a manager all the way through, and it's been extremely rewarding. So I've enjoyed that. And with Aiden, wrestling, he's always known out on the mat that he's, I'm going to treat him like all the other kids. I mean, in fact, I might even sway the other way a little bit, where he's going to have to work a little bit harder to get any accolades and praise out of me, for that. But, Aiden is one that, has been around the sport from the time he could honestly start walking. I mean, he used to come with me to practice at 3 years old and picked up on a lot of stuff just visually watching, being up in the room. And then, at the age of 4, he was crying and wanted to start wrestling on the mat. So, I mean, he's really had a desire from the time he was quite young and has evolved into a pretty tough wrestler for the Brawlers. He was a lot like Ian. He and Ian almost are identical with how they've grown, just physically through our program. Aiden was in 7th grade. He was, 85, 86 pounds and didn't qualify for 106. He was too light. And then in 8th grade ended up growing a little bit and was in the 90s, which was good. And the minimum weight for 106 is 91 pounds, so it's 15 pounds lighter. So he was able to qualify for that and showed us, as coaches in a program, showed us a lot of grit when he was that size and being able to hang in on some matches. And then, on into his freshman year, which he had a very good year, his 9th grade year, 10th grade year. He was a section champ last year and punched his ticket again here this year down in the state tournament. So he's been around the sport a long time, knows how to wrestle. And where Aiden's strengths are is probably on his feet. His defense is very good. He can control the tempo of a match quite well. Even kids that are maybe very aggressive, he can slow them down a little bit, and then he'll pick his moments to execute some good takedown shots on his feet. And then Aiden's also able to turn kids. He's got a lot of good ways from the top position to to work some of those near fall points. So he's shown that he's can score out of all 3 phases of the sport, which is an important piece.
And then one aspect as well. I know wrestling, you have the individual side of it too, but like you said, you unless you know what school you're at, you don't know that these kids go to different schools. So the overall, I almost say locker room type, just because that's what you get with other sports as well. But, what's the environment like being around these guys and having that, not even Bagley or Fosston, it's just the brawler kind of feel around these guys? Well,
The one unique thing about the sport of wrestling is there's a lot of respect, within the kids for each other. They know the grind. I mean, it's a tough grind. It's a hard sport. It's tough physically. It's tough mentally. And then you go home, and if you're a little overweight, you kind of have to watch what you're eating, and that's hard for adults to do that. Nonetheless, kids.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I know how hard.
I can attest that.
Yes, it's not an easy thing. So,
right.
The kids, it's not, where you just leave the practice room and it's done. Here they're having to live it 24/7, through the course of the winter, and then also just extra time on the treadmill at night and, working on your cardio. That's an important piece. A lot of weightlifting and different things that go in the off season. But, during the season, it's just such a unique thing to get to that higher level. So there's just a ton of respect for the kids, and it doesn't matter if you're a co-op school, if it's, if you're all under one roof during the school day. I see that from 7th graders and seniors, and it's a very unique thing. And I hear that from a lot of athletic directors, principals, that, you guys are kind of a different group of kids, because it's amazing to watch the junior high kids, fit right in with your juniors and seniors and vice versa. And you don't see that in a lot of other sports. It's very unique. And I think it's that underlying respect that the kids have for one another, knowing that, it doesn't matter how good they are, how poor they are, whatever it happens to be, they just really get along well, and it's fun to watch that.
And I'm curious as well, too, you mentioned, the differences between junior high fitting in with seniors. You have somebody like a freshman going into states at that point, too. The experience level between all 3 of these guys, what are your expectations when it comes to them getting to that state level and getting a chance to be and play in this environment type of a deal?
Well, when it comes to expectations for athletes, I have never ever had an expectation of winning. That's always a byproduct of hard work, for the kids and staying within themselves. So, what we'd like to see from the kids when they go down there is to work their technique, control the tempo of the match, be mentally and physically prepared when you step out on the mat, doing those little things correct as you're warming up to step out and compete. Those are things that the kids can control. when they go out on the mat. As far as what their opponent does to them, that's totally out of their control, on that part. And then just being able to, if there's some adversity out on the mat, if you get taken down, if you get put on your back, to battle through that, and again, keep your composure and work on scoring a point first, and then work on 2 points, and kind of working your way up from there. But yeah, very few expectations as far as anything with the success or the winning. That's always a tough thing, and I think as a coach, you're almost setting your kids up for failure if you have those types of expectations. That of course gets to be a little bit more in my philosophy on how we handle things. But these guys will go out, and I know they're well prepared, and they'll work hard for the brawlers out on the mat.
Well, and last question for you too, but obviously with the state level being that next step, and obviously bigger in scale, how do you try to prepare your guys when it comes to taking in that type of a newer experience, a larger scale when it comes to that type of a environment?
Well, one thing that we've had up here is there's like the Rumble on the Red in Fargo. There used to be the Big Bear tournament in Cass Lake, which were bigger venues, they were bigger tournaments, and they would kind of start to prepare the kids a little bit for that. The Big Bear is kind of dissolved. That's no longer around. Rumble on the Red we have not been part of as a program, so we haven't had that part of it. But as far as preparing the kids, we hit the road a lot in the winter. I mean, we put a lot of miles on, probably a lot more than what most people would even realize. We wrestled like this winter. We had our tournament to open the season in Fosston. Then we went to Grand Forks, schools even from Bismarck at the Grand Forks Sertoma tournament. Follow that up, we were in Grafton then. See several of the Class B teams in North Dakota are part of that tournament. And then we were going to be in a Royalton tournament. That ended up falling apart due to some weather and issues. So then we went out to Superior, Wisconsin, and wrestled there. And then we were back following that. 2 weeks later, we were in Grand Rapids. And then we ended the season this past weekend down in Morris. So with that, our kids have seen, kids from North Dakota, Wisconsin, some different styles of wrestling there. But we have also seen kids from sections 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, 7, and we compete in section 8. So we try to get the kids that exposure, and maybe even you'll have, see somebody down at the state tournament if you punch your ticket, for that you've potentially already wrestled, in the season. So we just try to give them that little bit more exposure to different styles and different kids that are out there. It's pretty easy to stay right in your county or in your area, but you're going to continuously wrestle the same kids over and over again. And we just feel as a program that's just not in the best interest of where we want our kids to have them prepared for opportunities like this, the state tournament.
All right, Coach. Head Coach Pat Wolfe of the Bagley Fosston Brawlers, as Aiden Wolfe, Ian Frankenham, and Zach Thompson will move on to states this coming weekend as well. Coach, thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks, Mac. Appreciate it.
Of course. Joe, back to you.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Just a reminder that we will have coverage of the North Dakota State Class B Girls Basketball Tournament, the games involving Central Cass and Thompson. That'll be audio only here on YourLiveEvent.com. We'll have Region 1 and Region 2 Boys Basketball playoff action for you. Region 2 will start on Monday at 3 o'clock with our first game. And then on Monday, we'll also have Region 1 Boys Basketball for you. And then also EDC Boys Basketball Playoffs on YourLiveEvent.com. Just check our website for the latest information on all of that. Next week, we'll talk with teams involved in the Region 2 and Region 1 Boys Basketball Playoffs. We'll also check in on the Minnesota Boys and Girls Basketball Playoffs as those are getting into full swing. And we'll have plenty more. That's all coming up next week on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. I'm Joe Lancello. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Wednesday night at 7.